everyone, welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. I am Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor the Art Impressions Way, and I'm going to take the next few weeks and do some Christmas projects. So we are coming into November, and I know a lot of you like to start out, doing your Christmas cards early. Some of you may have started already, but once we hit November, Christmas is here. So I'm going to inspire you in the next few weeks to do some watercolor paintings for just a special card for those people in your life that you want to do something a little extra special for. So how about a hand-painted little card? And honestly, you can do these really quick. So you could go through your whole Christmas list and do a handmade card. Okay, so let's get going. I'm going to show you how to put together this little snowy truck. So I've done videos on this truck before. It's super easy to do, but I want to show you how you can put it into the snow, put a little Christmas tree into the back, and make it Christmas. Okay, so we're going to start out by using that little truck. So from the watercolor truck mini set, we're going to use this truck right here. In the fir tree set, so we're going to use this one. We're going to use this little tree trunk right here, the small one of the toppers, this one right here, so those two. In the tree set, the small one of the fir trees, this one right here. And then in the foliage set 3, this little foliage right here. So only those few stamps. It doesn't take a lot. And honestly, you can use things that you have. If you're missing something that's similar, just go ahead and use what you have. A lot of these things are versatile. So, okay, let's go ahead and start with the basic image. We're going to ink it in 2 colors, and that is the African violet first. So we're going to ink this all up in the African violet. And then I'm going to go back over it again with the sepia. So this is going to go into the snow. So the whole scene is pretty light. So I'm going to just stamp this off. I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper and I'm just going to stamp it off so that it's not too dark on my watercolor paper. And then I'm just going to stamp it right into the center. So that looks good right there. And we're going to end up by mixing those 2 colors, a really nice gray, sort of a cool gray color. And actually it's going to look like it's a old white pickup out in a snowy field. So that's kind of what we're going for. So now I'm going to dip my brush in water. And we're going to go to the first step, and that is to pull the color out of the lines. And we're going to get a mix of color in here because of using those 2 markers. So we're just going to kind of come along here. Remember to pinch your brush off because you don't want to get too much water on here. So remember when you're doing things that are contoured, so you can see these wheel wells, they have a contour to them. The highlight is going to be on the top, so it's really important, even when you're using this in the snow, that you pay attention to those highlights and make sure that you're showing that, because if you don't, you're going to have an image that looks flat. And we want everything to look 3-dimensional. Okay, so now on here you can see this is a contour on here, so we want to show that highlight. At the top, this is a dome. So we're going to see that white highlight up there. This door, it has a curve to it. So we're going to see that highlight right into the center. So again, it's really, really important that you pay attention to that. The top. So you can see the top of this truck, it's got a highlight on there. And you can see it's starting to take shape. So we're going now to the back of the wheels. And then in here, you can see these little hubcaps, they're round. So they're also going to have a highlight. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm gonna take my the fine tip of my sepia marker. I'm going to really darken in these areas behind the wheels. And you're going to see how that just really kind of pops things out. And again, it's all about making things look 3-dimensional because we are using stamps. Okay, so I'm darkening the backs of these tires too. Anywhere that you think would be really dark. In a corner, I'm darkening now this little handle. Up in here, anywhere that you think could use a little extra dark color. And then just dip your brush again and just kind of blend this out. And we're going to see a shadow up in here. So drag that color over so that we can see that. starting to make some progress here. You can see that this is starting to look very three-dimensional. This has changed a ton just since we've been pulling the color out of the lines. Okay, so that looks good. So let's go ahead to the next step, and I'm just going to use a piece of Post-it tape here. And just take this off. And I just want to cover the back of this truck. So I'm going to stamp now. I'm going to stamp that Christmas tree into the back. And so I want to cover this up so I don't stamp over the top of that, that pickup. So I'm going to ink now the little tree trunk. And I'm going to use two colors. So I'm going to use the sepia and the pine green. Sepia first. And I'm going to leave some space in here. So I'm going to ink the tip and the middle and the bottom. And the reason I'm doing that is just so that I don't have to fight the lines when I'm adding the fir boughs in. So I'll kind of show you what I mean. So first of all, we're gonna put it in here, just like this, and you can see those light spaces. And actually I put it down a little bit far, but that's okay because we can extend the top over. So now I'm going to add the foliage, and I'm using the pine green. So because I stamped that down really low, I'm going to extend this up just a little bit. So just like this. So 1, 2, 3. And then in here into the center. And then over here. And you can just kind of stamp this in however. You know, there's not really no right and wrong way to do it. It's just a Christmas tree sticking out of the back of a truck. And now I'm going to add some of the holly in here. So I'm going to use this little tiny foliage, and I'm going to use the warm green now. So this is the olive green. I'm going to keep that little sticky note on there, or that Post-it tape, not sticky note. And then maybe I'll put just a couple in over here. And now I can remove this, and you can see I've really protected my little truck. So now I'm going to add water to it. And these are very tiny little lines, so you don't need a lot. Just touch it. And be sure to pinch your brush off when you take it out of the water. Be sure to pinch it off. And just touch these areas. You can see how that really makes a difference when you kind of break up that tree trunk, so you're not fighting that dark line. And just touch it. Okay, we have got that into that little truck. So I'm going to now take my red. This is number 89. This is persimmon. And I'm just going to make some little tiny red berries on here. Just add a little bit of red. And just kind of freehand this, you know, just do them in little groups of 3 or 4. That looks good. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. And we are going to add our snow into the bottom. And don't be intimidated by this. This is not hard to do. And the first thing we're going to do is add a little bit of color underneath. So the reason this truck kind of looks like it's floating is because there's no shadow underneath. It's not really cemented onto the ground. So even when we're doing white snow, we're still going to have a shadow underneath here. So just brush that in, that little shadow. And then just make a few little lines in here. Honestly, less is more. So it's better not to do too much. You're just kind of giving the idea that it's sitting in the snow. Okay, so now we're going to take some more of this color. So this is the number 86. And we're going to brush in the sky. Don't let it touch that truck or it will just bleed right into the sky. So don't let it touch that. And then just kind of drag it over. This is going to kind of create your snowy ground. So you want to stop before you get to the ground level, if that makes sense. So you can see here where this is kind of creating our snowy hill. Same over here. Again, it's just the idea of things. So when you bring that down and just kind of leave it here, you can see you're kind of creating a little snowbank. Okay, that looks good. So let's go ahead and put in our trees into the background, and we are almost finished with this project. How simple was that? So let's use this little tiny one. This is a little fir tree, and I'm using the number 72 pine green. And I don't need to ink the whole thing. I think I'm gonna leave the bottom 2 layers off. These trees are going to look like they're kind of into the background. And so I just want to do a small tree here. And then maybe just a couple over here. And then just dip your brush in water. Just very lightly dab this, very lightly. And just kind of blend it all over. Don't go past that white line, you know, that we created. And just pull it out just like this. And we are almost finished with this project. Let's do a couple of little details on here. So let's add just a little red bow to this tree. So just like this. And then make sure you've got enough little berries in here. And then you can take a wink of Stella, so just a little sparkle, and add some sparkle to this. And just kind of brush it on. It will also blend your color. So I love that about these two is they are water soluble. So when you add that sparkle, and I know it's hard to see on the video, but maybe you can see how it's just kind of blending the ink. Use your Uniball. So this is a white pen, and you can use this to put in the snow into the background. So just wherever, concentrate it in those darker areas. And just put on as much of this as you want to. So cute. And we are almost finished with this little project. The last thing to do, of course, is to sign and date. And put it on a card or put it in a frame, give it away to someone. I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you do, and follow me on Instagram. I have a new Instagram channel, Bonnie Krebs Bible Journaling, and there are a ton of new ideas, videos, and little clips for you that will help you. So feel free to do that. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you all next week.